a little promotion's good, a little hype's good. There's nothing wrong with that, but just keep some perspective and keep some balance. You just can't go in these things super hot. And it's better to, especially if you're going to have bugs on the front end, and a lot of that's just unknowable until you launch. It's just best to have a little
100%.
humility and launch the proper way and just build a foundation. And yeah, it's going to be a little slower go, but in the end, and hopefully in the years down the road, you're going to be thankful you did that, and your community members will be thankful you did that.
Welcome back to your Joyage. It's Cade, your guide. I'll be replacing the voice judge for now, giving you a break from the constant tone of monologue that is the human mind. I want to say, first, thank you for listening or viewing. I'll reply if you're on. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a like in this video. We have a really, really cool interview today. We got one of the founders of SupDucks, Mr. Stronk. Sir, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, I appreciate you having me on, buddy.
Anyways, we can get started. We're just going to do a little bit of background stuff just so people know who you are. Where are you from? How'd you even get started in SupDucks? Has blockchain been around for your whole life kind of thing? It's just been what you do, or?
So I'm from Tennessee. And in terms of my exposure to blockchain, I have been kind of following it for a while. I actually used to mine Dogecoin back in 20.
No fucking way. Are you serious?
Yeah, back in 2014.
Oh my God.
I mean, way before it became what it is today. But
that's awesome.
And then I would say I probably kind of stepped away from it for a number of years, and then in 2017 I got familiar with Ethereum and got really excited about that and real involved, and then I was also really excited about the NFT space, which was extremely nascent back then, and but there was this one platform that came out, and it was called Additional, and it was a lot like Instagram, and instead of just having a post, when you posted something, you could determine how many mints you wanted of that post from 1 to 10. And so ideally people would be posting artwork, and that's what most people did.
Yeah.
And so one day I'm scrolling through this thing and I see this SupDuck. And I thought right then and there that was the coolest thing that I had seen on the platform. So immediately I minted it, and I did a little reading about it, and the guy had said, "Hey, this is going to be like a little comic collection." So day and night I'd be on Additional, looking for the next one, and I think I got me another one or two of them. But unfortunately, about 6 months after that, the platform was discontinued. And that was that. And that was in 2019.
Yeah.
So fast forward to, I guess probably early summer this year, the apes had just come out, and I was pretty excited about that. Really wanted an ape, and I was pretty illiquid at the time, didn't have enough to get one. And I started thinking about maybe I could sell to try to bridge the gap. And to me, even though no one knew about it, I thought that SupDuck was my most valuable NFT. I just did. And then, I was like, I don't really want to sell this though. And I started thinking about it more, and I was like, this thing would be a killer PFP project. And so, so immediately I went researching, trying to figure out who the artist was. And after a thorough search, I finally found out it was Frankie. And lo and behold, I'd been following him on Twitter this whole time and didn't realize it.
No way. That's funny.
So I reached out to him and basically made the pitch, and he agreed. And so that day we started building a team. He asked me who I knew, and I knew another guy that had been kind of dabbling in the generative art creation space, and so we just started putting together a team, and after about 3 days we started hammering it 24/7 until we got it launched. But
dude, that's awesome. That's such a cool story, man. It's so interesting hearing about that. I did not think that was going to be the origin story of SupDucks. It started so long ago. That is insane. Was it the exact same art, or was there any differences between 2019?
Yeah, it's different. Of course, it's full body art, original. And actually, I'll send you a link after this so you can check it out.
Yeah.
And Frankie, he lost access to his original wallet, so he can't even.
No.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. I wonder how many just like NFTs and crypto and just like money has just been lost from just either mistakes or people forgetting. It's crazy, man. It's crazy, and that's the power of like decentralization. You get the power of your own stuff, but if you mess up, you can't just call Wells Fargo up and be like, "Yo."
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. So you've done these guys for a while now. I know when you guys launched, you guys launched quite a while ago, especially in relative to NFT land. 1 month is like 10 years. It feels
Right.
like, and so you guys have been going for a minute. You guys were one of the projects that when you guys took off, and even after a while, some of the big people in the space were talking about SupDucks. They were using you guys as like a little bit of a buzzword. They were like, "We got you guys in on SupDucks early. SupDucks this." I remember hearing about it all the time, just being like, "God damn it." you know. Talk to me about what it's been like, because there's a lot of projects right now that can probably learn something from just the story of SupDucks taking, like, it took a long time, it was a slow burn. You guys were able to maintain demand. You're maintaining volume. People still want to be part of the project. What are some of the things you guys have done that probably attributed to that success?
Um, I think maybe, well, I think the art is just next level. I think you'd be hard pressed to find one as good as Frankie. Uh, Number
Mhm.
two, we were just real community focused from the get go, and we made a conscious effort not to engage in sort of pump language or encourage any of that kind of stuff. In fact, we were like, that's not what we're here for. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be great if your asset appreciates some value, but we see this as sort of like a country club of the future, but in like the nicest way possible. You know what I mean? Like it's like a
Yeah.
fraternal organization essentially. So we wanted people that wanted to be a part of that. Um, but we've been fortunate. We have a very competent team. Our dev team is like, probably up there with the best in the whole space. And for the most part, everything's been pretty smooth. We haven't had a whole lot of hiccups really. Um, but just kind of being true to yourselves, being authentic. We're doxxed. A lot of people keep buying stuff from anonymous teams, and what they don't realize is a lot of these teams have launched like 15, 16 projects, and you just keep buying them over and over again, and then they're going to rug you.
Yeah.
And that doesn't feel very good. So, we're
And that's the thing, people don't realize it's like a full business startup is what we're talking about when you do an NFT project. How important is the team? How important is the competency of the people on your team?
it's extremely important. You have things. I mean, if your contract's not well written, you can have all kinds of problematic, occurrences that result from that. Um, but and what you said there, going back to that, we are a business. That's the other thing. Like we kind of joke around, but like I really believe in this. We're trying to be like blockchain Disney, and we're at the very beginning of it. And it's something that we're going to spend the next 10 years building out. And so we're going to be around, and that's
Mhm.
extremely important. Um,
Yeah. For anyone listening, what he just said, which was probably went over your head because it's just a small sentence in what he's already said, but the mindset work here of any team member of any team is going to be your most important thing. If you don't have a mindset of 10-year future, like he just said, they're looking to be Disney. And obviously, well, not obviously, but for me, when I look onto the website, when I look onto any of their socials, that's the immediate like thing I get from, like, oh, this is some kind of big thing they're trying to make, just from like the layout of everything. It's like a subconscious little pickup. And if you're in an NFT project, if you're invested in a project and they're not talking about things like visions and 10 years out with real steps implemented toward that direction, you really got to think about the projects you're investing in, because there's so many people just buying into every mint, every single project. I mean, it's not a secret that all my YouTube videos, the ones with new projects, do 3 times better than any review that I have of even a blue chip project or a project that people deem as blue chip. I mean, my Cool Cats video got half the amount of views that my new minting video got, and I was just like, man, that's too bad, because there's true value in conversations like this where we get to really pick the brain of people behind the scenes. And talk to me about some of the things maybe that an NFT project that just launched, or a guy who's thinking about doing an NFT project, wouldn't think they have to think about. But now that you've been in this space for a while, you're like, no, you got to think about that.
well, communication is extremely important. Um,
Hmm.
you have to, focus on sort of building value for your community. Um, you have to, you need to have that, clearly established too. Not enough folks, I feel like, focus on, like the Discord, for better or worse, is where most of the interaction in the space takes place. Uh,
Hmm.
but focus on having that like a robust, Discord environment, and enough mods to be able to handle any kind of issues or questions or concerns that people in your community might have are important. Uh, you know, on the back end of it, the technology portion, making sure your contracts audited, making sure you do thorough testing. Those are hugely important. We see so many times on launch day all these problems that arise because people didn't, cross their T's and dot their I's. Um, so, uh,
Is everyone on your team? Is everybody docs? Do you guys have connections, relationships with everybody that's involved?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's awesome. Yeah, I think because for me with anonymous teams, it's just an extra layer of like, ugh, because you don't know a guy could just your most important guy in the team could just mint day be like, you know what, fuck you guys, I'm doing this instead, and there's nothing you can do about
Right.
it, and that's a scary thing, And so I think a lot of people, I mean, the problem is there's some big projects out there with anonymous teams, and it's just like, ah, man, like I guess anything is really like pretty much. I mean, what's his name? Gary Vee has said it. Like we're literally in the gold rush. No one knows where we're just all kind of running around. Like let's try this, let's try that, and in the end, it's going to be the people with experience. I think that are going to come out. That's something I picked up when I interviewed Greg Norman from the Bungie project, who's the CEO, and I just remember talking to him and hearing some of the things that he's gone through and some of the things he said about business, and he's been building business for 10 years, and he's like, look, these are just the facts. Like NFT projects are businesses and companies because you need to know how to run this. And if you go through a bear market, what do? Most of these people have never even heard of a bear market, right? And so the things you're talking about, like the vision, engaging with the community in not like a BS, shilly, like whitelist this, whitelist that kind of way. You got to build that rapport and that support. Like I always say, like The Simpsons is built over 20 years, not 20 days. And so those are so important. But I want to talk about maybe more personal to you. What made it about the SupDucks besides the art that you thought was cool? What made it to where you went from this is really cool art, I think this could be something cool, to being like, I want to dedicate my entire life to this and everything is SupDucks from now on?
Well, and maybe it doesn't pan out like I believe it to be, but I and people might roll their eyes and think, oh, it's just a PFP project, but I think what we're doing is really important, and I think a lot of the experiments we're
Mm-hmm.
going to be doing over the next months and years, trying to feel our way out and see where this thing goes, are going to it's going to further the industry and the space and the experiences that people can have with this. Like I alluded to a moment ago, we do kind of see this as sort of, there is this like fraternal organization aspect of it, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, for since the dawn of time, everybody sort of congregates by geography. Your where you live, your hometown, your city block. Uh, but being a subduck is being like in your city block. These are the people that, as the metaverse evolves and matures, these are the people that are, in theory, sort of somewhat like-minded, and that you're going to call your friends, and that you'll hang out with. The majority of the time. Hopefully, that's at least the way that we see it. Um,
Yeah.
so, you know, so from that view, like I think that's something worth spending a good portion of your life, trying to achieve,
Yeah.
and it's exciting,
100%.
far more exciting than what I was doing before. Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
What was that? Are you able to talk about that? I have no idea.
yeah, I am. I'm in sales, or was in sales. Yeah.
Fire. Fire. Yeah, man. That's well. I guess that experience, because Timothy Juice from the Coin Games, who I just interviewed a couple days ago, he was also big into sales and marketing beforehand, and I was talking to him about that, and some of the things he picked up from his sales work directly, applies to making an NFT project. And something you picked up probably subconsciously just because of all your experience in sales and marketing is that you saw the SupDucks profile picture and you were like, well, one, yes, the art is great, but two, there are other things that need to happen for a project to be successful in the way you want, in the way that like a Disney kind of project would work. And there's only specific styles of art that could work. Like if you have a profile picture of a really scary looking dragon head, it's not as realistically able to be like, this is something I would rock in the metaverse as my avatar running around like buying stuff, or like running around. Like ducks works, that style of duck works, versus another project with ducks maybe wouldn't work.
Well, yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I see some of these PFP projects that are horrible PFPs. It's like they
Hmm.
always forget about that number one, sort of simple foundation. Like it needs to look good as a profile picture. But the other thing about it is, and some of us on our team are a little older. We're '90s kids, and the nostalgia of the duck. I don't know if you noticed a lot of the art, a lot of the traits. They sort of are like homages to kind of '90s culture and whatnot.
100%. Yeah. I mean, it gives that instant, just subconscious feel of it. I mean, if you're not like 14, I guess, but you notice it and you're like, dude, that's cool. Like that's just objectively, we can all just agree that the art looks cool. And that's a huge reason. I don't even know if you're aware, but someone on the marketing team, can't remember his Twitter handle, but SupDucks and Joyage Kingdom, which is my brands, will be partnering up,
Yeah.
just because we have like the same vision. I think you guys are looking at the same stuff long term that I talk about literally every single video. And so when you guys came out and they were like, "Hey, let's do some kind of collaboration work," I was like, "Easy work." I mean, that's like the goal is to partner up with projects and brands. And I made a whole video about this, about projects that have an inline vision with me. I want to work. Like I think there's a lot of collaborations between content creators and companies that are just like a one time, like we'll just give you this, you get that out of it, peace, goodbye. And I was like, yeah, I'll do that every now and then. But like the projects I want to partner up with long term are companies that have ideas of way into the future. And like some of the ideas I have are very similar to SupDucks. Like I want to be here in 20 years with my own project, with a brand that I'm growing over the next 20 years. And we share the same ideas. And so I think it's going to be a really cool collaboration. I have no idea if we'll do any kind of work together or if it'll just be like a standard sponsor, but I'm super freaking excited to work with you guys.
Yeah, I did know about that, and yeah, I'm pretty excited about it as well.
Also, I want to talk about the YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is great. I talk about this in my videos a lot too. You guys are doing all the things that I'm excited about. You guys have a legit YouTube channel. This isn't like some BS, like put a phone up and just speak for like 30 seconds. Like this is like a movie TV show series you guys got going on. What was the idea there, I guess?
Um, well, it started, and then if you go back to like the very first stream and kind of where it is now, and we're still trying to tweak and play with the formula to see, what people appreciate the most. But
Yeah.
and just this past week, I don't know if you saw the last little teaser, but they've been hard at work, sort of building out the whole set. So it's going to be kind of part, entertainment, part talk show, parts, updates and keynote to keep everybody updated and sort of abreast of what we're working on for the community. But yeah, and it's fun, and maybe people that just walk in don't quite get it just as much, but since we've all kind of been together for these past 4 or 5 months, like we see our buddies on there, and there's some inside jokes and stuff, and I
Yeah.
think it's kind of fan service for ourselves in a way. But we hope people will watch it and find it entertaining and informative as well.
Yeah, I mean the vibe I got from it was just fun. It was laid back. It was casual. It's just a bunch of people just like vibing with SupDucks. Like it was cool. It's got that family vibe that almost exactly you said with Disney. It's like a TV show vibe where it's like I feel excited to be watching this 2 minute little vlog, and I think there's exorbitant amounts of value that happen that you can't really quantify in a little video like that. And that's why I tell every NFT project, I'm like, guys, there's actually not that much work you have to do to make a cool little YouTube thing to get people part in the community. I mean, you're getting like I think 400 or 500 views per video. Frankie's got 60,000 subscribers on YouTube. I mean, this is a thing that can happen, and especially if you're a project with like 20,000 Twitter followers or something, I mean, you're going to get a few hundred, maybe a few thousand people on your YouTube, and they're
Right.
going to become more and more invested in you. And I talk about this for brand perspective. I'm like, if you get people to like you and want to be part of your brand, they're going to buy your hat when you put a hat on to your shop. They're going to buy the shirt. They're going to be one. They're going to want to be part of the project, and that's like the most important thing with brands. Um, do you have anything that you've noticed, especially in new projects, that maybe they're focusing too much on? Things like hype or like whitelist. Are there things that you've noticed just like from a bird's eye perspective, maybe?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious that a lot of them focus on hype, and you know, and a lot of people don't know this, but every day we get probably a minimum of 7 or 8, uh, people influencers hitting us up. They're trying to shill our project for some type of fee or
Mm,
whatever. But it's just nonstop, and
yeah.
obviously there's a lot of projects taking advantage of that. Um, But yeah, and the other thing is like going back to kind of the slow burn aspect of how we rolled out, because we didn't do that. We didn't spend any marketing dollars. We didn't interface with any influencers or anything. It's almost like a stealth drop, honestly.
Yeah.
And we built this foundation over time. Whereas, like you go to, was it Mechaverse?
Oh
This
man.
burns real hot, and then it just falls off a cliff. Um, you know, that's just not a way to build a project. I think it's
Yeah.
yeah, everybody's high on the dopamine when their prices are rising real fast and stuff, but they're losing focus of what's going to carry this thing
Yeah.
across years. It's going to be a rock solid foundation. So
What do you say? Because there's a couple projects right now. If you've heard of Hate Beast, which is it's like the project right now. It's like hot. Everyone's talking about it. But anyways, what do you do when sometimes you can't even help it? Your project just has 100,000 followers, and they're excited about the mint, and you've been pushing it. Is there a way to save yourself, or are you completely screwed and you're about to have another Mechaverse, rise to 10 ETH and then drop to one? Like, is that going to happen regardless, or is there any patchwork you can do? You think to kind of transition away from all that hype if you already have it?
well, I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. But there's no way to acquire that many people through organic means in that short window of time. And a lot of people say, "Oh, we got 50,000 people in our Discord." I guarantee you, 90% of those aren't real; they're bots or what have you.
Yeah.
And we get them too. And actually, that's another thing that we've done very well. Uh, we got one of our mods, and he's just like top notch bot builder. Like the bot security is insane, and so we're constantly kicking people
Hmm.
out left and right. They're always trying to like brigade the Discord. And at one point, like before we had that, in one day we blew up like 20,000 extra Discord subscribers. So those weren't real,
Jeez.
but some people,
Right.
and they may even know that, and they're still out there shilling those numbers, and that's not really ethical in my opinion. But yeah, going
Yeah.
back to like a Megaverse or Hate Beast, yeah, there's no way they reach that organically, in my opinion, and uh, so they're sort of allowing that to happen. They're fostering that type of uh, behavior and environments, and yes, there's almost going to be no way to prevent it from just collapsing and falling off a cliff.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was going to say the only way they could possibly come back from that, because it's almost inevitable. It's just going to happen, right? If you have that many people. But like the way you can maybe maintain that demand, because for Mechaverse, what happened is everyone was talking about it. The thing happened. Everyone clowned on them because everyone was like, "Oh my God, people held too long, and now it's down." And then I literally never heard about them again. I have not seen a single Mechaverse profile picture. I haven't seen a single thing about Mechaverse. I don't think people care at all, right? And so you can't. I think you can save yourself. It's just going to take way longer. And I think that if you start going down the path of hype, it's a very it's like an uphill battle.
Exactly. I mean, it becomes a bad memory for so many people. If
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
and so yeah, to come back from that's going to be tough. And it's just yeah, a little, a little promotion's good, a little hype's good. There's nothing wrong with that, but just keep some perspective and keep some balance. You just can't go in these things super hot. And it's better to, especially if you're going to have bugs on the front end, and a lot of that's just unknowable until
Mm-hmm.
you launch. It's just best to have a little
100%.
humility and launch the proper way and just build a foundation. And yeah, it's going to be a little slower go, but in the end, and hopefully in the years down the road, you're gonna be thankful you did that, and your community members will be thankful you did that.
100%. And I think I'm praying that these become the hype words, like patience, humility, swallowing your ego. Like these are the things I want to start hearing more of, rather than when whitelist, moon, Discord. Like there's all these buzzwords that just suck, and they're so bad for real brand building. Which is at this point in my career, or whatever you want to call it, of NFTs, I've had enough of BS. Like I've seen BS for so many months, and I'm like, dude, how are you not tired of this? How are we not ready to evolve and mature into this new thing that it's gonna happen, right? So there's only gonna be a handful of projects that rise out of the ashes when we go through that NFT bear market, which is gonna happen, right? Everything's gonna burn, but it will be the projects that did everything you're saying. They were patient. They have worked on things behind the scenes. I mean, you guys have like a full studio thing. I don't know how many projects. I mean, all of them made $5 million or whatever from the mint, but like, where is all that money, right? For a lot of them, they don't even know. And so I'm really hoping that the buzzwords become a little bit more smart, educated, and more long form. And that's the exact reason that we partnered together. And so if it's okay with you, since we only have a couple minutes, I wanted to do a couple like fire off questions, just like random shit.
All right.
Well, this one's not like as much like a fire off question, but like how much do you think taking care of your mental and making sure that you have a moment in the day to like breathe for a second, disconnect, go to the gym, see your family, how important is that when you're running a project?
Was 100% important. And you'll kind of notice, like when you're on the other side of this, you spend a lot of time, in the Discord, working on your roadmap, working on the things that we're building at the time. And yeah, like I felt kind of bad because for the first couple of months, I wasn't giving my family the attention that they deserved. So yeah, it's important to take some time and relax and enjoy, your real life as well, because, you don't want to get burned out. You got to keep your momentum up, to get all these things launched that we want to for everybody. So yeah, I think it's hugely important to take those breaks for sure.
Hell yeah. Is there any places that you've been wanting to travel? You said you're from Tennessee, but I think you relocated. You're relocated, right?
No, so I'm going to stay in Tennessee. We have the headquarters in LA, and so
Okay.
I think I'll probably fly out like every 6 weeks or so, and
Right on.
spend a week or two there. But well, I'm not a very well traveled guy, to be honest with you. We went to New York City for NFT
Hell
NYC,
yeah.
and that was
Oh wait, you did. How was
that
that?
was amazing. That blew my mind. And the coolest part I always say was meeting all the ducks in real life. We had a couple little
Yeah,
events,
man,
parties.
that's so
Oh
cool.
yeah. And we hung out. We hung out to all hours of the night, getting crazy. And it was, yeah, just tons of camaraderie. I mean, those guys like friends for life. I loved them all.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's because you did it right. Like you built that community correctly. If you did it in a stupid way, it wouldn't have had that same feel. So that's awesome that you guys had
yeah,
that.
yeah, it really was a lot of memories for sure.
Man, wow, that is so. I was so upset I couldn't go to New York NYC. I'm gonna 100% go to the next event. I'm actually going to one in. It's not in LA, but it's somewhere in like Northern California. There's an NFT event that I'm going to. I think it's a little bit more low
Oh, no.
key, but I think it's so cool to do those in real life events. Like, was it weird because you're so used to just seeing profile pictures and just sending a little tweet? But how different was it to see them in real life?
Some people, you sort of develop in your mind what you think they're going to look like and sound like.
Yeah.
Uh, some I felt like I sort of nailed, and some I was way off on. It was,
That is so
yeah,
funny. Oh my
it
god.
was cool seeing everybody. Yeah, for sure.
It's such a crazy thing because especially if we move into this digital metaverse thing where I guess we wouldn't really have to technically meet in real life. You could still use your avatar. You could still kind of be behind the curtain or whatever you call that. So it is just cool, and I think it's important that we have these in real life events before we have that metaverse. Where we dive in and become these avatars, because it'll pretty much be the last time we're able to do that. And I think there's a lot that happens just, I don't know, subliminally or subconsciously, or whatever the word is, when you do meet someone in real life and you get the interaction. That's why I love these podcast interviews, because people can hear like, who is Stronk. I see him on Twitter. He posts these pictures sometimes. He pops in the Discord and talks, but like, who is he as a person? And I think that's really important when you're building brand. And people who are outside looking from the inside, or looking from the outside in, and saying, damn, that's a founder that I want to get behind. He said some stuff I like. They're thinking about the right things, and that's what I'm hoping to do with these interviews, because people come at me and they're like, you didn't ask this question about functionality. Wait, what about staking? And I'm like, guys, that's not what these interviews are for. So anyways, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. I think there's so much value we got out of this, and I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, man, 100%. All right, guys, I'm going to leave all the SupDucks information down below. We are partnering, so that's super cool. I'm really excited for that. I'm going to leave Strong stuff down below. I appreciate you watching. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and yeah, until next time, continue on your Joyage, continue to learn, and be grateful you're alive watching this video.